first name Laura, last name capital M, lowercase c, capital C, Onnell. I'm the Public Information Officer with the Type 3 Boulder County Incident Management Team. Before we start, I will go ahead and update you on the fire from what we know at this point, and then I'll hand it off to Rick to talk, Commander Bruff, about any additional information from the Sheriff's Department. So the update that we have as of this evening, throughout the day, firefighters continue to provide point protection in all areas of the fire. We had 2 hotshot crews, which are 20-person crews, constructing lines on the north half and west sides of the fire. Aviation resources today were very successful in helping firefighters gain ground. The main fire growth was on the east side of the fire. Fire crews are going to be up on the fire working through the evening. As far as tomorrow goes, for Wednesday, it's pretty much the same. We do have an increase of humidity to expect. However, the potential for fire spread is still pretty high. The U.S. Forest Service and Boulder County are working with a Type 2 incident management team that assumed the management of this fire at 6 o'clock this evening. The incident commander coming in is Incident Commander Todd Richardson. They're focusing on a smooth and safe transition of resources and operation efforts. Rick?
My name is Rick Bruff. It's B-R-O-U-G-H. I'm a commander with the Sheriff's Office. I've got some update information. As I said earlier in some of our media press conferences, we did have sheriff's deputies in the area today going through looking for structures, damaged structures, so forth. What I have so far, this is just preliminary, but we do have 92 structures that have been destroyed and 8 that have been damaged. Now this is spread out throughout the entire fire area that's been involved in the fire. This isn't complete in any way, but like I said, we do have 92 structures that were destroyed, 8 were damaged. I wanted to say we've been talking with Incident Command. We know that it's going to be at least a couple of days before we're going to be able to allow residents to get back into the area. Again, we have safety issues. We still have an active fire within the perimeter. We've got power lines down. We've got trees falling. We've got all kinds of hidden dangers. So it's going to be at least 2 days. What we have done is on the Boulder OEM website, we have posted a map that has both the area that's been evacuated as well as an area showing the perimeter of the fire at this time. So that is accessible by the public, to the public. We also are going to be posting some addresses. And again, I want to make sure everybody is aware that this isn't complete at all. It's just addresses that we've been able to get. Geographic areas we've gotten into today, we've been able to find addresses of structures that have been destroyed. We will be posting that on the OEM site again tonight, so the public can look on that site, get addresses. It will tell the type of, if it's type of structure, whether it's a residence, whether it's an outbuilding, and whether it's destroyed or whether it's damaged. So that will be being released later tonight. There's also a public meeting scheduled for tomorrow at 7:30. It's going to be at the Corps Event Center. The media is welcome to attend. Parking for the event is going to be in lots 418, 440, and 436. Those are all off Regent Drive. So we'll take questions now.
Any increase in the acreage, Commander?
We did have some growth. I don't have an approximation of the acreage, but we were getting growth on the north, basically the northeast and southeast side of the perimeter. So that's where we saw the growth today. But like I said, I don't have an actual acreage amount.
Are we still losing homes?
We have lost additional homes within the perimeter. There are homes that have been destroyed. One of the things I wanted to point out that we are going to be posting a list. It's not inclusive at all, and we do have fire within the perimeter. So if there's addresses in a certain area, that could grow because we do have active fire in the area.
Could there be more evacuations?
Not at this time, but that is a possibility depending on how the fire moves.
What about the firefighters who lost their homes? What else can you tell us about them?
Not a lot of information right now about them. We're not releasing their names. They were initially pulled off the lines just so they could, just for mental reasons. at this point, we're not releasing any other information about it.
Did you say 92 structures?
92 structures.
Do you know how many of those are homes?
I don't. All I have is 92 structures were destroyed, 8 were damaged.
Laura, you're talking about the air attack. More detail what you were able to accomplish today in the air.
Basically what we were able to get from our aviation operations folks down there is that after the inversion lifted, some of you may have seen that this morning where the smoke was sitting pretty low on the mountains. Once that lifted and they were able to get aviation resources up there, the visibility was actually available to them. We don't have the actual number of gallons, but they said that they were successful in being able to get all planes up and utilize them to their fullest extent.
Do you know how many runs they made?
I do not know how many runs were actually made today. They did say that from the time that the resource drops the retardant on the fire to the time it gets back to Jefferson County, the airport down here, Rocky Mountain Airport, and refills and gets back up to the fire area is a turnaround time of approximately 20 minutes. So that's a pretty quick turnaround time when you have 7 to 9 planes that are actually active in those operations. They will not, those planes do not fly during the evening hours for safety reasons. However, at first light, so long as conditions allow as far as the visibility, they will be up as soon as they can.
What are resources doing on the corner of the site, at that northeast corner, that little piece left there? Is there manpower running that tonight?
As far as the operational period for tonight, actually Rick and I left before we got that briefing. There are fire crews that are up there still doing pretty similar activity as far as what the crews were doing today as far as point protection and keeping an eye on where that fire is at and where it could be growing. Usually in an evening setting, because the temperatures become cooler, we have relative humidities come up, so a fire tends to lay down at night and not be as active. It's in the afternoon where is when we actually see more of the activity.
Could you explain type 2, please?
Sure. The Type 2 Incident Management Team coming in, it's a team composed of 40 to approximately 60 individuals, specialists, very similar to the Type 3 Incident Management Team that was here. They have more resources. They bring in bigger teams with additional resources simply because of the complexity. It's gone up, as you've seen, with the number of firefighters, the number of families that have been affected, the acreage that has been affected. So they're putting teams in place that have the number of resources available that they can, working still with some of the folks from the Type 3 team. They're getting as many resources in as they can.
Do you have any containment today?
They have not spoken of containment or control right now. The focus has been on safety and, of course, structure protection.
Earlier they said that they had assessed 50% of the fire zone and came up with the 63 structures. How much of the fire zone has been assessed now for the 92?
I can't even address. All I can tell you is that is within the fire area, the area that is active right now. So I can't even give you specific locations. It's just within that area. I do know it's incomplete. We haven't covered the entire area yet, so it is incomplete.
What can you tell us about the cause of the fire, the possibility of the accident involving propane tanks?
We don't right now. Excuse me. Right now, that initially that was reported. That's how it came in over, I believe it was over the radio. Somebody reported it that way. We're currently investigating how the fire started. At this point, we don't know for sure yet. The investigation is continuing.
Joe Pelly's quoted as saying it was a fire involving a propane tank.
Well, like I said, it's a continuing investigation. That information came over at the radio at one time, and sometimes information coming over the radio isn't always accurate. So I guess what I'm saying is it's still under investigation.
Commander, do you have a feel for how many people still have not evacuated, and are you finding a number of evacuees making their way back in?
I haven't heard of any problems like that. From what I'm hearing, people are pretty good about staying out.
Excuse me, could you explain to those of us who aren't aware of what the difference between the 3 types are, and given the complexity and difficulty and the number of houses that have been lost, why aren't we shooting everything we have at this?
Do you want to talk about
Sure. With this particular type of incident, this is, as far as the nation goes, this is a high priority. This is an area which you're seeing that they're throwing a lot of aviation resources that they can towards this incident. Having 7 Type 1 aviation resources, that's impressive they can pull that many resources. A lot of the county firefighters, we actually have firefighters coming in from several different states coming in this evening. With the Type 2 team coming in, what that does provide is additional funding at federal levels. That's where the Forest Services come in. That can actually get some of those additional resources that we don't have some of that funding available to us at some of the local levels.
What's the other type then?
The next type, it's a Type 1. That is a national team. We do have folks from a national Type 1 team that is coming in. It has been ordered. Some of those folks will be in place to start working tomorrow with the Type 2 incident management team. Those folks are coming from Nevada, all over. The Type 2 incident management team, I think, is made up of folks from approximately 5 to 7 different states, versus the county team made up mostly of the local county area people. This Type 1 team is probably close to 7 to 10 states, would be my guess, of folks coming in additional to help. Folks from the Type 3 team are staying on to assist the Type 2. Folks from the Type 2 team are staying to assist the Type 1. So it's a very large concentration of fire and fire specialists that are available to us on this incident.
About the head of the fire, is it still moving towards the direction of the house?
Well, what we heard this afternoon is that the active part of the fire is pretty much on the eastern side. Can you, as far as you know?
Eastern side, it was said part of it was moving northeast, which is towards the Boulder Heights, Pinebrook Hills, which are fairly large subdivisions. That's where they were specifically using the air. We haven't lost any homes in Boulder Heights. We haven't lost any homes in Pinebrook Hills either.
But the fire was moving in that direction?
It was moving in that direction today.
How many firefighters were on the scene today, and how many do you expect tomorrow?
As far as firefighter resources that were on today, that pretty much has doubled. As far as the actual number, we've got folks coming so quickly. So that number, I can tell you that there's approximately 300 to 400 people now. By the time I get back over there, that could have increased to 600 or 700. It's a fluctuating number, and at this point, I don't have a point number. We should have that tomorrow morning. We do have folks arriving this evening and checking in from my information unit. We actually had an additional 4 folks that are going to be arriving this evening and into tomorrow. And that's just one unit. So there are some additional folks coming in throughout the evening, as are engines and additional resources, aviation, whatever they can get their hands on that is available to us for this incident. As far as some of the aviation resources that they had today, I'm not sure if you probably could see some of them working. Boulder Heights, in that area, that was one of the main focuses, to make sure they got some retardant out ahead of the fire to ensure those communities would be safe.
I have a question for you, Rick. When that fire got started yesterday, did it get up and running really fast? Did it get away from you and get into the wind?
No, it got up and running really fast because of the wind up there. Before we even had people on scene, it was spreading, and it moved fast, to the point that it was jumping roads before we really had people in place.
How soon were you losing houses?
I couldn't hear you.
How soon were you losing houses? Was it forcing firefighters to get out of there?
That I can't tell you. I don't know exactly when we started first losing structures, but I do know that when we first got up there, we were moving people around quite frequently because we had the fire changing directions so many times. The wind was blowing and changing the direction of the fire.
And one last question. How close was it for people escaping? Were there any really close calls?
That again, I don't have that information.
The public meeting tomorrow, is that AM or PM? Where is it again?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's 7:30 p.m. at the Coors Event Center, and it's a community meeting basically, but the media is welcome. So it's trying to get the people that are involved, try to answer questions as to what's happening.
Any injuries?
You described the fire as volatile. How would you describe it now?
It continues to be that way. I mean, it's unpredictable. Like I said, when this started, we had the winds blowing. Today we didn't have the winds like we did before, so they were able to make progress on the fire. Again, what they're trying to do, they're trying to get some kind of containment. And they're trying to get people around the fire, get retardant out in front of the fire to keep it from spreading. So they're still working on it, but it's an active fire. You were asking?
Any injuries?
We haven't had any reported injuries, any deaths.
What do you attribute that to, given how intense this fire is and how dense the community is there?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the